Welcome back. You're watching Morning Express, and this is the state of the nation. Now, we want to talk about NASA's swearing-in plans on January 30th. Now, they did say it's January 30th or never. But before we go to that, we want to listen to some of the leaders talking about the swearing-in.
Affidavits so that hii mambo ya wabunge wengine mchana wako huku usiku wako huku, ni lazima tujue nani wako na sisi na nani hawako na sisi. Tunataka tuweke sahihi chini. Tunataka tukienda kuapisha baba ya kwamba wanasema kwamba watanyonga baba kwa sababu it is treasonable to apisha baba. Sisi tunasema kama wabunge tutaweka sahihi zetu. Wakinyonga baba, sisi sote wabunge pia sisi tunyongwe.
We are briefed by the party leader what he has been doing in terms of promoting genuine, structured dialogue. We advised our party leader as NEC that his position after we discussed it is a proper position. A position of going all the way to ensure that a national dialogue where people respect each other, where people are equal partners, where people put country first, that is the way to go for a country, because it's true that the country is hurting.
All right, Senator, I want you to defend yourself. Are you willing to die because of this cause?
Yeah, there comes a time when we need to sacrifice for the nation. And as I had indicated in that clip, we have a lot of people and leaders in NASA who are not genuine to the cause.
Yes.
During the day, they want to pose as if they are supporting the cause, but at night, they are cutting under deals with our opponents.
Okay.
That is why I came up with an idea that we need actually to have affidavits stating that we believe in this cause and we believe in Raila Amolo Odinga as the people's president, signed by all MPs.
And so far, how many people have signed it?
No, we are still at a drafting level. Yesterday we finished drafting. Today we are presenting it to the principals to go through the affidavits, and later in the week we shall present the affidavits to all members. Those who will sign, we will know they're with us. Those who will not, we will know they're playing in the other team. Right. And it's better for you to know your players. You'll rather know that your goalkeeper has been given a red card than assume that he is in the goalpost, yet he's playing for the other team.
All right.
So we want to mark our players. We want to know who are with us and who are not with us. For instance, you saw, with due respect, you saw Honorable Nyonka the other day, a man who we helped recently during the elections. We even intervened and asked the ODM and ANC candidates to step aside just to make him a member of parliament. 1 month down the line, the guy is unappreciative. The guy comes up to betray the cause of NASA. And we are saying with such members, we are going to ensure that we discipline them, if possible, even suspend them from the coalition. All
right, Professor, we can see it seems like there are two different angles to this. Here on this other side, we're saying people are focused to the NASA, agenda, and then here on the other side, we're seeing WIPA members saying they're pushing for dialogue first. Swearing in is their last, option. What is your comment on this?
Whereas I would put a footnote because my honorable senator is here.
Yes.
And I don't want him to roast me when I go back to Kakamega Mumias.
Yes.
But I would rather caution him also that this issue of swearing in does not have any common sense or logic.
Okay.
It does not have any legal standing. And it's also going to put the image of Raila Odinga, who I also respect, into disrepute. His international image will be tainted. And trust me, if you look at Article 141 of the Constitution, as it says about the instruments of power and the preamble and the arrangements of taking off the office, if he's sworn in, where is he going to go? what next?
Yes.
Even though Article 1 of the Constitution read under the common man's view, on the common man on the Clapham bus, it's not definable. It's only the courts that can define. But if I can define a little bit from my own personal view, it gives some kind of impervious status that the people's view and the people's power, they can do as per their will. So in that particular context, yes, they can swear him in. But then when it comes to swearing him in, at this particular moment, thank God it may not be a very good thing for NASA.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, from what we have just discussed, NASA is supposed to be spearheading the rights and social liberties of Kenyans democratically. Some of them, plus my senator, have stood firm on that. And I'm sure the other day when he was being locked up in the office, under house arrest, it demonstrated that there is fear. But what I'm trying to say is, those who want this country to prevail should not go by the whims of the few who want to destroy the fabric or rubric of our liberties. The issue of swearing in, I don't agree with it at this particular moment. The issue of swearing in is going actually to bring in a lot of negative reaction to people who are standing firm like us, running towards the road of transparency and integrity and liberties. I don't agree with it. And I'm not a proponent. I mean, I will not support it.
Yes.
It's very premature. Look at Wiper. Instead of saying, let us go as what the senator have said, looking into major issues that are affecting this nation, they are fighting for position. What if they were the other side of Jubilee? Then that means they will be going in there with the tumbo kind of tumbomiasis. That does not really argue well with me. And second, and finally, NASA should not threaten the government.
All right.
I am not Jubilee and I will never be. And I will never be NASA. I am Roots Party of Kenya and I'm a Kenyan. And I stand to be counted wrong or what have you.
Okay.
But this issue of saying that it's either us or not cannot work in this country.
All right, Senator, if you want to, can you respond to that? Because one, fine, you'll swear in Raila Odinga. Where will he command from? What bills will he sign into office?
We, before we get into the swearing in,
yes,
we have brought bills, rather motions in the county assemblies to pass the People's Assembly motion. These, we invoked it from Article 1 of the Constitution, which gives the common mwananchi the sovereign power. And it goes ahead and says that that power can be delegated to the county assemblies and parliament.
Okay.
And therefore, if we have 19 to 20 county assemblies saying that we recognize Raila Odinga as the people's president, and mark the word people's president, Uhuru Kenyatta can remain to be the president of the Republic of Kenya with his sword and those other instruments of power. But Raila Odinga will be the people's president because the people on 8th voted for Raila Amolo Odinga, and we know that. And it's now coming out clearly that Raila Amolo Odinga won the elections of August 8th. On 26th October, we said that we were going to participate in the elections, but there were no reforms, there were no changes in the IBC as we were pushing, and therefore we decided to withdraw from our candidature. And surprisingly, Prof, Uhuru Kenyatta told his people to wake up in the morning and go and vote. According to him, and according to IBC, 7 million people voted. Now, the remaining 12 million people did not vote. It means they followed the instructions of one Raila Amolo Odinga not to wake up and go and vote. So it means Raila Odinga, in a layman's argument, has 12 million people. Uhuru Kenyatta has 7 million people. So it means Raila Odinga commands the respect of Kenyans more than Uhuru Kenyatta. And therefore, as we are going to swear him in on 30th, he's going to ascend as the people's president and not the president of the Republic of Kenya.
You've talked about counties, and so far you have 12 counties that have accepted the People's Assembly. Your initial target was 24. So will he be the people's president of only 12 counties?
No, by 30th, we will have, most of the county assemblies are broke for recess, and we are pushing, in the coming week, we are going to ensure that the counties get to 24.
Right.
And I can assure you, we are going to get 24 and above counties.
Right. Now, I want us to talk about the issue of cartels in ANC. But before we do that, I want us to listen to you when you're making these remarks.
Lately been experiencing unhealthy internal challenges due to political disorganization caused by a selfish and retrogressive cartel of individuals with close proximity to the party leader, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. It is this cartel that has caused the recent political losses. For example, the loss on the Yala seat and the dismal performance in parliamentary leadership. The loss on parliamentary leadership should not be blamed on the constituent NASA parties, as has been portrayed by ANC leaders.
Professor, if you can comment on that.
Yes, what the senator is saying there is true. It's not really news. We know some of those MPs, especially from the Kakamega County, who have been fronting, and from the ANC wing, those, and I'm talking of a former MP, whom I'm not going to mention for legal reasons, who was seen crisscrossing into Ruto's office to and fro.
Okay.
And then at time he would run into ODM, jump back in ANC, and then he remained that way. And we know him. We don't want to mention him. And I would support him 100% on that view. And right now, when he saw that the NASA thing was coming up by Musalia Mudavadi, he jumped back again. He's actually Judas Iscariot of Western Province. He jumped back, and then now he's trying to cause discontent into ANC, and we know who he is, but I'm not going to mention him.
All right. Senator, you say there are cartels, but what is the ANC doing to get rid of these cartels?
We are at a point whereby Jubilee is infiltrating into our parties.
Yes.
You wake up in the morning and you find a member of parliament saying that ANC wants to walk out of NASA. Surely, at this point in time, is that even a discussion to be advanced at this point in time? And Jubilee is using friendly MPs to cause disquiet within the parties and to cause animosity so that we can have a fallout in NASA. They have even started advancing the narrative of who will take up NASA in 2022. Some of them are saying Musalia Mudavadi must be the presidential candidate in 2022. The Wiper MPs are saying Kalonzo Musyoka must be the candidate, NASA candidate in 2022. But according to me, I think this is premature to discuss this, because we cannot advance the 2022 narrative if we've not sorted out the 2017 mess. We cannot get to 2022 if we've not sorted out the electoral injustices that we've just experienced in the recent past. And therefore, such leaders, when they advance such rhetorics, they want to cause animosity in the coalition so that the coalition can fall apart. And this is the Jubilee strategy to divide NASA. And therefore, as a young leadership in the coalition, we have stood firm on this issue and say that we are going to ensure that such leaders are not entertained in our coalition.
Lastly, on NASA swearing in, you know, when the coalition was planning on postponing the swearing in to January, you know, you were supposed to sign an agreement, and we saw ODM did not sign this agreement. What do you have to say about this before we move on?
Of course, ODM did not agree to the postponement of the swearing in. And that is why, Prof, my suggestion is for NASA to remain relevant and to be strong in future, we need to dissolve all these affiliate parties and form one political party called NASA, so that we have one command point. But now we have so many command points. Wiper will hold a NEC meeting come up with resolutions and expect that NASA will pick up those resolutions. ANC will do the same. Ford Kenya on the other side will do the same. ODM will want to do the same. So to end all these dramas in the coalition, let us dissolve all these parties and form one party whereby we shall have only one command point and one party leader.
Prof, you look like you're agreeing with this.
Yes, I quite take his stand, but the problem is creation of the legal issues that will arise. Because if you dissolve parties now, that will mean that you have to form a new political party, and that will have to go with the registrar of political parties, and whatever comes with that is actually a tall order. Secondly, that will mean that all MPs will have to resign their seats and will have to call new elections, just like in the same way Jubilee did. So that's a good idea.
But Jubilee dissolved URP and TNA
before the election.
Midstream. And nobody resigned, including the president.
Yes, but that particular time, of course, you and me might even have that feeling that if you are holding the emblem of power, you can do anything. The TNA had the majority in parliament, and they did not want to have any kind of Lucifer music of having MPs who had crossed over to resign. But at this particular time, they will take advantage. Jubilee will take advantage and say, hey, guys, call for elections, and then mayhem will happen. But if I may want again to put a footnote to what my personal senator, has said, I would strongly say, with emotions, that NASA puts on hold their swearing.
Okay.
Because the consequences are great, and this country is going to be divided, and there will be mayhem, and we only have 4 years to go by. If you look at the American and British system, they have been there for years. Teething problems are always there. You cannot just come up and say that we have to. It is us, it's we. Come on, for God's sake. This country belongs to more than 45 million people. Let us look in future. Let's look into the future in sustenance, sustainability, sustainable politics.
But I must say at this point that as NASA coalition, we are willing to dialogue. But we shall only dialogue with Jubilee when Raila Amolo Odinga is the people's president and Uhuru Kenyatta is the president of the Republic of Kenya. At that point in time, we shall then attract respect and now discuss on important national issues.
I thought you said you're willing to dialogue if President Uhuru Kenyatta will discuss the 5 agendas. Now it's after Raila Odinga is sworn in as the people's president?
We are not pulling our foot back on the issue of swearing in Raila. We want to swear in Raila first, and then the rest can follow. We want Raila to negotiate as the people's president. When he talks on behalf of Kenyans. But now he is being treated as a civilian.
All right. NASA is not the only one which seems to be having, storms brewing. We can see Jubilee. Recently, President Uhuru Kenyatta announced a list of his cabinet. And, though they are trying to downplay the issues that are going on, of course, DP Ruto was not present when the announcement was being made. What do you have to say about this before we move on, Professor?
Actually, the cabinet issue is the prerogative of the elected president.
All right.
This has been the cardinal principle in the UK, US, wherever it is, whether it's a prime minister or a president. The fact that Ruto was missing is not really bad news or good news. So what? He's just a vice president. Let him wait until he becomes a president.
Okay.
What's the big deal of saying that, because we cannot have 2 gizzards in a stomach of a chicken. There must only be one. And according to...
But in 2013, we had 2 gizzards.
Those were emotional kind of rhetoric. I am a Kenyan, I'm running for president in 2022. And if I win to be the president of this country, I'll lead the country as a president with the presidential powers. I'll be a subject to be seen to be. But let me not deviate the situation. The president has the mandate. He's been given the mandate to appoint a cabinet. Why does he need his deputy to be there?
All right.
That is number one. Number two, that particular time we had 2 parties, URP and TNA. They dissolved to form Jubilee, giving the president the mandate. Let him choose that person that can work with him, not those boxers those mediocres, those political failures, and what have you. The fact that Ruto also wants to agitate his notion of pointing himself for 2022, we are there in the field with him. Don't forget that.
Yes.
But when it comes to nominating the cabinet, let him put men and women who have integrity like Matiang'i, men and women who are going to deliver, not mediocres like those ones we have seen, not mediocres who have failed us in our foreign policy, not mediocres who have failed us with statements like Cecil Kariuki. When my client was deported from this country, I saw what she wrote, commanding the immigration to deport this man when that was not within her docket. But let me not go personal. Let the president be given the will to choose men and women of substance that are going to take, that are going to push, that are going to cross this country towards its imaginative destination of sustainable rhetoric and development.
Senator, you said there were two gizzards in 2013.
Yeah,
yes.
I think in 2013, Uhuru and Ruto were newly wedded.
Yes.
And therefore, there was that excitement of putting on the same tie.
Honeymoon phase,
and walking, holding each other's hand. But now reality has hit their face. Uhuru has realized that he has got a mandate to perform. He has got, he wants to leave a legacy to this country.
Yes.
And therefore, he will not continue doing politics with matters development. And I think in 2013, it was a coalition. It was a coalition between the TNA party and the URP party. And therefore, there was need for that face to be seen as a coalition. And that's why even Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto read the cabinet jointly. But in 2018 now, it is not a coalition. It is a party, and a party is led by one person. And that is why Uhuru Kenyatta has taken over the leadership of Jubilee, and I think he's not consulting anyone on matters appointment of the cabinet.
Okay.
But again, Ruto wants to use this opportunity to play his 2022 politics. And I will want to advise my good friend, William Samoei Ruto, to wait for his time. Moi played a fool when he was a vice president, and he became the longest serving president of Kenya.
Okay.
And therefore, if William Ruto wants to be the president of Kenya, he must play a fool. Must play a fool now, let Uhuru Kenyatta appoint the cabinet, and then in 2022, he'll have the opportunity to appoint his cabinet if he will be the president. But I can see my friend here is determined to run for presidency. He has not considered me for a running mate. I would be a very good running mate.
From the same clan,
but he has said that he will be fully in charge. Now I'm afraid of being his running mate.
You brought the Moi factor in, and we saw, just the other day, people talking about Gideon Moi being named as a cabinet secretary, though he refuted the claims. Just a few minutes ago, you said you'd prefer him as a cabinet secretary. Maybe you can just talk about
I think the president should really think twice. The Rift Valley is very porous, and it needs some kind of sanity and diversity. Gideon Moi should not just be pushed aside. We have seen him perform in the Senate. We have seen his public engagement. We've seen his kind of market-friendly attitude. This man deserves to be a cabinet secretary. He's a man who comes across like Kibaki. He comes across like Mudavadi. He comes across as a man who can reach out and a man who can listen. He doesn't have that thematic, rhetoric, dictatorship, kichwa ngumu. No. Let him be given a chance and let people judge. This country belongs to everybody. It does not mean that if Professor Wajakoya is going to be the president, or if he's actually eyeing to be the president, I should come up rhetorically in a dictatorship manner to do things with an iron fist. We are seeing this coming, but I'm sorry to say this. Let Gideon Moi be given a position, and then the country will have to balance. Rift Valley politics will balance. Otherwise, there's going to be a rebellion.
All right, Senator, do you share the same?
Gideon Moi is a good man.
Okay.
But I wouldn't want to indulge more into Jubilee matters, because the first week of February, As NASA, we shall be reading our cabinet. And therefore, I would want us to discuss matters pertaining our cabinet as NASA. And because we do not recognize the Jubilee cabinets, we are not going to participate in their vetting. We are not going to comment anything about their cabinet until we name our cabinet.
All right.
That's when I can say something. I can comment on matters related to equity, matters related to the position of the youth in the cabinet, the position of women in the cabinet. And I would want to ask Prof here that cabinet slots should not be shared politically. It should be on the basis of who qualifies to head a certain docket.
All right. Thank you there, gentlemen, for joining us here on Morning Express. To my immediate left, Professor George Wajakoya, and of course, Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala. Thank you. Always a pleasure having you. We want to release our KTN home viewers now, but we take a short break here on KTN News. When we come back, we have Tech Central.